Hey everyone, I'm here with Cruz. We are going to build today inventory management tool. So the idea is to start with AI, and then we are going to do some customizations, maybe add some automations if we have time. But we are going to show it from scratch. So we are going to start with basically nothing. And if you guys have any kind of suggestions or requirements that you want for this tool, just ask, and we are going to try to show it live how to build it. So, Cruz, how should we start building an inventory management tool?
Cool. So the idea here is to have like a simple form in which people can select the item that they're taking from stock or that they are receiving in stock. So the idea is that you have this form that is going to add or subtract items from an inventory table. And the best way to do this is just by asking the AI to build some of the first parts of the app. I could give a more detailed suggestion for the AI to build. But all I'm going to do here is ask for a simple initial version so we can start building manually some stuff so people can see how you would edit what the AI built. So we could have a better first version with AI, but we're going to keep things simple at first just for uh, demonstration purposes, right? So I'm going to share my screen here.
And if we have time, it would be interesting to show how could we add an agent for this process as well. An agent that maybe we can ask some questions, kind of stuff. But we can add this in the end of the building process.
Yeah, sure. So we'll start by asking the AI to build something. So I'm going to ask to build an app for inventory tracking. Use a side menu for navigation. So this is all that I'm going to ask for the AI to do, right? So you can see that I haven't detailed anything. I haven't told it the table structure, the data structure that I want. I haven't asked for a dashboard. I haven't asked for a form. But the idea here is that I'm just going to ask for a simple version, just so we could have something like the bare bones version, um, faster than building by scratch, and then we can start editing as soon as the AI builds this first version. So we can see here that it's building. One thing that we always say is that you don't have to wait for the AI to build. You could keep working. You could keep using all the parts of Jestor. We're waiting because we're on the live stream, right? So I'm going to open this, and there you go. It built some stuff that I haven't asked for, but it built quite a lot of things here. So we have a dashboard, we have an inventory management part. So you can see that we have some products, categories, quantities, price, status, and dates. Okay, and we have a page for reports as well. So yeah, there you go. So this is kind of like a second dashboard, right? So one thing that I'm going to do here is um, I'm just going to go to the inventory table. I'm going to open this and I'm going to change the name just so it's a little bit easier to find it when I'm editing the menu, right? I but I don't know if I have another table called inventory. So if I don't have a second table called inventory, I'm not going to change the name. Just so let's see. I'm just going to start changing the menu, right? So I'm going to remove the favorites and I'm going to add the inventory part. Yeah, we don't have another page called inventory, so that's enough for now. Okay, so let's call this databases, a folder here, so you can have this collapsible part in the menu. And I'm going to add a new folder in the menu called app. So we could have this structure right here, right? So one thing that I'm going to do here is leave just chat and notifications in the side menu. And also I'm going to change the colors, right? So Uh,
Maybe make it like yeah, like one color on the left, and then we can make it white in the right part. Also remove the icons for the navigation there. I think it's better since we didn't configure the icons there.
okay. I was going to add icons, but
Okay,
no
yeah,
problem.
it's if your choice.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. I think that with icons, it's a little bit easier to discern what's happening there, but we can change that later if we need to. Okay, so let's first. I'm going to remove this dashboard, right? I'm actually not remove. I'm going to repurpose it. This is going to be my form, right? Mainly because we already have a third page that is kind of like a dashboard as well. So I'm going to repurpose this. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to remove this title bar. Whoops. There you go. Yes. So when I'm sharing my screen, you can see that my cursor sometimes goes crazy. So there you go. And also, I'm going to customize the background color. So I'm going to leave it full white. We can change it later to almost white if we think that this is too bright. And I'm going to delete these charts here and indicator, right? There you go. Okay, so instead of using this as a dashboard, I'm going to use this as a form. And this is going to be the form that we're going to use to uh, add or subtract things from stock, right? So this kind of the app, we're going to have a form here. But before I build the form, if we think about the database, this is the inventory database, okay? So I don't want this date added, so I'm going to remove this. But the other parts are okay already. There's the item name, there's the category, there's the quantity that I have in stock. Price I'm not going to use, but I'm going to leave it here because maybe it will be useful in the future, right? So one thing that I'm going to do is I want a form for me to add or subtract items from inventory. So what I'm going to do here is create a new table that is going to log, it's going to register each transaction, right? I'm going to say if I want to remove, if I want to add things to the inventory. So I'm going to call this inventory log. And what this table is going to register is when someone adds or subtracts something from the inventory. And we're going to have an automation here so that when someone says, like, I took a jacket out of the inventory, this is going to automatically remove one or any amount of items from the inventory, right?
Do you think it would be
So
more interesting to have two forms, like one for adding and one for removing items, or it's better for the user to have one form and then they can choose?
uh, from my experience, it's better to have one form, right? Because you can use this main form as the central part of the app, right? Instead of having two forms that just cycle between them. Because if you have two forms that they're going to look alike, because all you have to do is select the product and the quantity, people are going to, by mistake, add or subtract stuff. So it's better to have a single form and they select the operation. I want to take things from stock or I want to add things from stock, right? So I'm going to do this in a single form. So if you think about it, what they have to do, they have to select the product, right? So I'm just going to create a connection field which allows me to select something from a table. So it's going to be this inventory table. I'm going to sort by name, so it's a little bit easier to find stuff if it's sorted alphabetically. And I'm going to customize the icon here. So for the inventory, I'm just going to go with, I don't know, the folders, for example. We can change this later. And I'm going to add a color, and there you go. So you can see that I've created this field, and basically I can select the products from the other table, right? Now I'm going to create an option field, single option field, which is basically going to be a drop-down menu where people are going to say if they're adding or removing stuff from the inventory. So I'm going to call this operation, and it's going to be add or subtract. We can change these names later as well. It's just to be a little bit more clear when we're doing stuff. So what they're going to do is select the product, select the operation, and they're going to have a number field for the quantity, right? So basically what we're going to do here is that they're going to, you can see here, I think my screen just froze. There you go. The product, the operation, and the quantity, right? You can see that title is as a text field here because it's usually used as a name. It doesn't make sense here because people are not going to be naming things every time they try to take something out of stock. So what we're going to do here is edit this field and use random code. So this is going to give this operation a random code, a random sequence of characters to identify transaction, right? So for example, I can take one headphone out of the inventory, and you can see that I have this code here that's going to identify what I did, right? Cool. So let's go back to our app. It's going to be, it's this one. Yeah, I'm going to favorite this so it's a little bit easier later. I'm going to add an icon here, and I'm going to use this because it's a form. There you go. And what I'm going to do here is create a form. So basically, this is a inventory log form. And what I'm going to do here is update inventory. And what I'm going to do here is add a description. So use this form to record a transaction. We could have a cover and a logo here. I think it's going to be too much information. So we want a simple form here just so people can record what you're doing. But you could have your logo and an image here if you wanted to. And the table that this is going to update is the inventory log. And I'm going to select the fields here. So title is not important here because it's automatic. People cannot even write information here right now. So I'm going to select product, and I'm also going to select operation, and I'm also going to select quantity, right? And one thing that we can do here is you can see that the single option field has this kind of like appearance here. So it's kind of like tags that you select. In this case, I think it makes sense to have it as a drop-down menu, a common drop-down menu. So like this, but have right next to the quantity.
I
Like
would do
this
this as a
section.
button because it's easier to see, and I use first. I would add the operation first.
Cool.
As
And then we can do a
uh,
conditional as well.
not this one as a button, but the other one that shows the colors as well. Just because of the colors, then because it's important to not make a
This
mistake
one?
of. Yeah.
No, sure, no problem. So we can have this, and we're going to add this right next to it, right? So you can select add, subtract, and the quantity. Product is going to be required. Operation is also going to be required. And quantity is also going to be required. But one thing that we can do here is that just to show you guys that it's possible, so you can guide people through using the form, I'm going to add a conditional here. So for example, I don't want quantity to appear right away, but I want quantity to appear. So I'm going to select quantity and show. And the condition is when operation is not empty, right? So basically what this is doing is that I'm guiding my employee through the process of using this form. So when he selects something, I have to finish editing this, just to show you guys. Okay, there you go. So if I select add, then it's going to appear. So they select the operation before. So you could have them always appearing, but I think that it's nice to know that you can do this sort of thing here, right? On one thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to disable the form responses, but you could leave this on. Basically, that what this does is that the person is going to receive an email with the transaction that they recorded. So this, in this process, makes sense to leave it on. I'm just not going. Yeah, I'm going to leave it on. I'm not going to use this too much. So when they record that they are taking one headphone out of the inventory, they're going to receive an email. So they have like a proof of the transaction, right? So we're going to leave this on here. And now we're going to just add some colors, right? So the background is going to be white. In this case, maybe the title I'm going to leave with a color. I can revisit this later. And the button is also going to have the same color. I'm going to make the title a little bit smaller. And there you go. And I'm just going to make this take the whole screen, right? So we haven't automated this yet. So if I go here and click on subtract one headphone, this is going to record the transaction, but this is not going to automatically update the inventory. We haven't configured the automation yet. But one other thing that I want to do here is that the AI built this field, right, for category. Which I think is interesting because I can use this to make that form easier to use as well. Because right now I only have like 10 items. So it's not much of a problem to find stuff, but maybe I had like 100 items. And if I had 100 items, it would be a little bit harder to see what's going on, right? So I'm just going to change the colors here to some more standard colors and a little bit smoother. So I wouldn't have to do this, but just okay. So I have clothing, I have electronics, I have furniture, and I think that those are all the categories that I have right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the inventory log table that I've just created, and I'm going to create a field that looks just like that other one, right? So I'm going to go with category. And just to remember, I have electronics, furniture, and clothing. So I have electronics, and I'm going to give them the same colors. Not necessary, not needed, but looks better if I do the same colors, right? Furniture and clothing. Furniture and clothing. Yeah, so why do I have this here? Why am I creating this, right? Because now what I can do, if you see here, right now I can select any product, right? But one thing that I can do now that I have this field is I'm going to edit the product field, and I'm going to add a filter. And what I'm going to do is basically set up so I can only select products in which the category of the product is the same as the category that I'm selecting here in the inventory log in this form, right?
Would it be possible
So
to also filter? Uh, it's only possible to select a product if the quantity is higher than zero, or
yeah, it's also possible. We can do this. So for example, here add a few filters, and I'm going to add a rule, and I'm going to keep it as an AND rule. Yeah, so this is true and this is true at the same time. Quantity is greater than zero. Okay, so this is only going to let me select things that I have in stock, right? So it makes sense to do this. And now what's going to happen here is that I can select the category, so electronics, and it's going to search for electronics. So if I go with clothing, it's going to search for clothing. But if I go, you can see here that jeans is at zero, right? And if I try to select clothing, there's no jeans here because jeans is zero, and that's the filter that we're doing right now. So let's go back to form, and I'm going to edit it. So I'm having all sorts of slowdowns in my computer today. So I'm going to edit this form, and I'm going to add um, oh, I have to refresh my screen. I created the field just now. So just a second. So basically what I'm going to do is add this category to the form, right? So let's edit it. And I'm going to go with category. It's going to be in this form as well. In this case, I could leave it like this, right? Buttons. I don't think it makes sense because maybe you have like 10 different categories. So this one will be better as a drop-down menu, which here is just called standard, right? And this is also going to be required. So I'm going to save this, and I'm going to put this before product, so it makes more sense, right? And I can also add an inline, so they are right next to each other. So there you go. And I'm going to add a section because I think this is looking kind of like uh, too bare bones. So select category, item, operation. Actually, record the transaction, and the inventory will be automatically updated. Okay, so this looks better right now. So there you go. So I have this in the form, right? So I'm going to save now, and basically it's looking like this right now. So I can select a category, and this is going to filter the products. And we have like two filters, just to remember you guys, remind you guys that basically I cannot select things that have like zero stock, right? And then I select the operation, the quantity, and only then can I submit the form, right? So the form is already done. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to automate the transaction, right? So right here, I'm going to click on automation, and I'm going to add an automation and add inventory. So the trigger is going to be when a record is created. So this is what's going to set off the automation, right? When there's a new record here in the inventory log. And the first thing that I'm going to do is add an if condition, because we're going to actually have two automations here, one for adding and one for subtracting. So this one is for adding. So when operation is equal to add, then I'm going to do something. And this something is, let me see, update quantities. There you go. So I'm going to update something in the inventory table, the main one, right? This one. And all I have to do here is fill out the fields, right? So the product in the inventory that I'm going to update is this one. I have to select the ID, right, of the product, not the name, the ID. This is what we use for updating in the platform. The field there that I'm going to update is going to be quantity. The quantity that I'm going to add or subtract is this one, not the one inside the product, but the one in the inventory log. This is the quantity that I'm going to add or subtract. And then I can select the operation, and in this case, it's going to be add, right? So I'm going to save this and create this. So let's see if this works. Maybe I've set up something wrong, so then we can correct this. So let's do jacket, right? We have 30 in stock. So let's go to the form, and I'm going to select clothing, jacket, and I'm going to add 5. I received 5 new jackets today. So there you go. So I sent this. You can see that it's in this table already. And if you go to the inventory, let's see, it runs in parallel. So maybe I did something wrong, so we can. Oh no, there you go. It was just my browser. So it can take some moments for an automation to run, right? An automation in Jestor runs in parallel. It runs in the background. So sometimes your browser hasn't refreshed yet, so you can just wait for a little bit or refresh the browser. Usually it runs almost instantaneously. Sometimes it can take a couple of seconds. But you can see that we had 30 jackets, and we said that we're going to add 5 to the inventory, and it updated automatically, right? So the first part, adding to the inventory, is working. What we're going to do now is do the opposite, and we're going to do subtractions, right? So subtract inventory. This is going to be the name of my automation. So when a new record is created here in the inventory log, I'm going to do the exact same automation. It's going to be an if condition. There you go. I'm going to verify the operation. So if operation is equal to subtract, then I'm going to update the quantity from the inventory, and I'm going to get the product ID. This is what we use to update the record. I'm going to update the product quantity by the quantity of the log, and the operation is going to be subtract. So everything seems right here. Let's save. There you go. So we have both automations set up now. We have adding to inventory, which we've already verified it's working, and we're going to do subtract now. Cool. So let's just wait. There you go. So we have add inventory and subtract inventory, and now we can test it. Let's do the same thing. We're going to use jackets again. We're at 35 right now, right? So we're going to remove, we're going to subtract, clothing. We're going to subtract 2, so this should leave me with 33. So we're going to have to wait for the automation to run. Like I said, it's almost instantaneously, but your browser may take a bit to update. So we're going to refresh our screen. But for the log, that's it. One thing that some people are not aware of is that uh, there's an automatic field here for who created the record, so who submitted the form, and you can see that these are all by me. So this is quite useful because now I know who took two jackets from the inventory, right? I know who added like headphones from the inventory and so on. So we have here jackets. Yeah, there you go, 33. So it updated correctly, right? Cool. So I have a form that is working here. So now let's go to this screen that I'm going to use kind of like as a dashboard, right? It's going to be a list of things. So what I'm going to do here is just change the color of everything, right? So for the inventory management, I'm going to go with white, this title bar here. And instead of adding products, no, we're going to add products. That makes more sense here. New product. There you go. So we're just waiting for it to save. But one other thing that we're going to do here is just change the colors of everything as well. So I'm going to remove this form. Doesn't make sense for it to be here. I hadn't specified to the AI, so that's why it suggested this. So I'm going to delete this, and we're going to have this table. So one thing that I can do here is customize this. It's going to be white as well. And I'm going to disable scrolling so we can have the screen always at the same size, regardless of who's looking at it, right? Cool. So there you go. So I'm going to click on edit and I'm going to resize this to the whole size of the screen. And one thing that I can do here is you can see that I have the inventory table. So this looks nice already. One thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to sort by name. I think it looks a little bit nicer if it's alphabetically. You could also sort by category or by quantity or by price. You could sort by the thing that makes more sense to you. Maybe you want to see pricier products on the top of the table. I'm going to do alphabetically, but you could change that if you wanted to. We have some aesthetic options here. So I'm going to remove these field icons here, right? And I'm going to remove the grid. I'm going to leave the border. I think it looks nice. It makes it a little bit easier to see the boundaries of the information. And one thing that I'm going to do now is I'm going to do conditional colors. And one thing that I can do here is I can make things slightly red. There you go. If
Make it yellow,
quantity,
not zero. Like, or maybe I don't know if you're going to do like a 0 or lower than X.
I'm going to do 0, so that's why I'm going with red. But I'm also going to do a separate thing, but we don't have the information yet, so that's. But I'm going to do another condition. So we can do this, and I'm going to add connected records here. So I'm going to pull connected information, and I'm going to pull information from the inventory log, so I can see all the times someone took something from the inventory or added something to the inventory. So I want to see who did it, what they did, when they did it, right? So this is useful as well, and the quantity, right? So this is going to be read only here, and I'm not going to be able to register a log here because I only want to be able to do this through the form. So I'm going to save this. So if I go back here to jacket, you can see that I have the information from when I added 5 jackets to the inventory and subtracted 2 jackets from the inventory. So you can like very quickly see the information from the last transactions, for example. Uh, so what I was going to do, which is something that I feel like you were about to suggest, is I have quantity, right? This is not the table that I wanted. I wanted inventory. There you go. We have the quantity here, um, but there's also a different kind of quantity that I think it's important to keep track of, which is the minimum, right? So, and I'm going to leave this right next to here. So, for example, I may want to have at least 15 jackets in our inventory. For tablets, maybe that number is 5. For clothing, maybe the number is for jeans it is 10. For sofas, it's 3. Let's see, headphones 20. Uh, there you go. And we can just keep doing some other stuff here. So this is just random information, right? There you go. So what I'm going to do now is check if the quantity is um, higher than the minimum amount that I want for that item, right? And I can do this with a formula. So this is like minimum check. So this is quite basic, right? So all I have to do is do like quantity minus minimum. If you wanted to be fancy about it, you could do an if condition and do like a text, so over and under minimum. But just for demonstrations purposes, all the information that I want here is that you can see that when it's over the minimum, it's a positive number, right? And when it's under the minimum, it's a negative number. So when I get under minimum, this formula is negative, right? So this is all the information that I need. But you could do if conditions to have text here. So some people like that, but I think it just makes the formula look kind of like too much information. So this field doesn't even have to be visible in any case. So what I'm going to do is edit this table now. And I'm going to show the minimum, right? So there you go. And I'm going to add a new conditional color here, which is like yellow. And I'm going to show this when the minimum check is less than 0. So there you go. So you can see that headphones, I still have headphones. It's not 0, but it's under the minimum amount that I want to have in stock. So it's showing me that I have to replace this. So I have to restock this, right? So there you go. And one other thing that I want here, just to finish this part, is a filter, right? So I'm going to create filters here to make it a little bit easier to see the information. So I'm going to call this custom filter. And the first filter that I'm going to add is going to be a generic filter, right? So it's going to be a flexible filter. Flexible filter is a filter that just takes all the information from the table and lets me create a filter on the go, on the fly. So I'm going to base this filter on the inventory table, and then I'm going to filter this inventory table component here. So just to show you guys what the flexible filter does, he was created down here. So I have to pull him up to this title bar. I'm going to edit the title bar and select this filter. He's down here, and he's going to be pulled up here. There you go. So I can select a filter, and for example, I only want to see things that are furniture, and I can create this filter like as needed, right? But there are some other stuff that I can do here. I don't have to have a flexible filter because maybe there's some kind of information that I want to be able to select a little bit quicker. For example, category, right? So I'm going to add a new filter here.
One thing
So
that we could do as an example as well is to have a top bar uh, and replicate the table, but only for products that are low on stock, because it's useful to have this report all the time.
sure. So let's do this. I'm just going to add a new filter here to this part, and it's going to be a select from field. Why select from field? Because categories is a field from the inventory table. So basically, I don't have to replicate that information. I can just say that I'm going to look at the inventory table and get the category field. And when I select this, I'm going to filter this component here by the category. And there you go. So let's save this. And I can just quickly select it, and there you go. So this is a little bit faster than creating the filter from scratch, right? So if you have filters that are simple and all you have to do, all you want to do is like click on the information and filter everything, you can do it. So you have this preset option as well. And one thing that I forgot to do is edit this inventory table component, and I'm going to allow for people to download this information. There you go. So if you want to export this to a spreadsheet because you want to do something in Excel, or you want to send this information to someone by email or something like that, now that I clicked on it, you're going to see that when I hover my cursor here, there's this icon, download data. All I have to do is click on this, and this is going to generate a report, right? And the report is going to be all the information that is appearing here. And this includes when I filter it. So if I filter by electronics here and click on this, it's only going to generate a spreadsheet of electronics, right? Cool. So let's do what Banach said. I'm going to get this inventory management. There you go. Inventory management table. There you go. And I'm going to clone it. I'm going to duplicate it so it's a little bit faster, right? It has all the styling of the previous one, and so all I have to do is edit. So this is going to be low stock. There you go. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a filter here. I think this works. I don't remember anymore. So for minimum check is less than 0. There you go. So, oops, let me save this. Clicked on the wrong box. No problem. I can just do this again. So I'm going to add a filter to the table component. Here you go. I'm going to look at the minimum check is less than 0. And this is going to give me only things that are low on stock. There you go. And I'm going to create the filter again. So can be a little bit quicker now. So custom filter. The first one is going to be flexible filter by inventory, and I'm going to filter this table, and by category, it's going to be select from field, and I'm going to get from the inventory and category. And I'm going to filter this table by category. There you go. I'm going to create it and pull it back up to the title bar. I already had it. No problem. So let's see if it works. I had no furniture. Yeah. Electronics. So it's working. Cool. So I'm just going to delete this one. Okay. I'm going to add an icon here to this. So this is going to be
icon.
Sorry?
I don't know if there's an alert icon, maybe? I'm not sure. Yeah.
Cool. So we have this page. We can go back here and we can now do I think it's called top bar. I may be misremember it. Top bar. And what we're going to do here is that it's going to be white as well. Oh, sorry. I created it in the wrong place. Let's go to inventory management. There you go. So let's create top bar here. And now I have to select the low stock page. And I'm going to remove these parts. There you go. And it looks like this, right? So it's basically the same page, but it's a little bit easier to just cycle through them. So between them, actually, right? So if I want to see everything that is low on stock, I only have to click here and I have the information at hand. So there you go. I have the form, I have the inventory management part, and we have this page that I'm going to use to show the transactions, right? So this is going to be kind of like a dashboard for the inventory log. So
we could add some indicators like how many items on low stock or something like this, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Would it be possible to have a bar chart with like a quantity that's going in, quantity that's going out? I don't know if we have this data, aggregated data to do this.
I think we can. So just let's change the styling here. The disable scrolling, and I'm just going to give it an icon. So we have a chart icon here. There you go. Cool. So let's. The first thing that I want to do here is I'm going to create a table. So this is going to be like a report for the inventory log. And basically, it's going to show all the information, right? So the product, who took it, when they took it. Oops, no title here. There we go. The operation and the quantity, and I'm going to allow. I'm going to remove the icons, grid lines. It's going to be only read only, and I'm going to allow for downloads, right? So there you go. So this is just kind of like a quick report of things that are happening, right? Of transactions here. So one other thing that I'm going to do now is here in the title bar, I'm going to allow people to uh, add or subtract things from stock, from the inventory log. But one thing that I'm going to do here is um, transaction is we already have a form, so we already have this form set up, right? So I'm going to like pull that form to this button, right? So all I have to do here is import from app page. The app is called form, and the form is the inventory log form. And we can select the way that that form is going to appear here. So for example, it could be like full screen or like wider form. I'm going to show you guys the difference here. So there you go. So it's this exact same thing, but on this screen. So let's delete these blocks. And what kind of chart did you say we should do here?
Bar charts, like how many like units that's going in or out. Like red and green chart with
Sure.
all the transactions. And
So
I,
we
I
can
would
have
make
two
it
series.
really like as wide as possible. Otherwise, they're going to be like too close to each other.
Cool, no problem. So we're going to do a bar chart here for um, transactions, and we're going to have two series: a green series for adding and a series for subtracting. So the chart type is simple bar, and I'm going to get information from the inventory log. So the x-axis, and this is the horizontal axis, right? So this is the bottom part here, is going to be, I think that by product, by date. What do you think? Date is going to be just today, right? So it's going to look kind of weird here. So let's do by product, and the y-axis is going to be the quantity, right?
But the
And it's
product
going.
is could we? Is it possible to do by date with the data that we have, or it's better to do by product?
We'll be able to do with date, but it's just going to be one bar because everything's from today.
Yeah, but that's okay. Like then we can just
Yeah,
change
no
the.
problem. Then there you go. So we're going to do by date and the quantity. We're going to sum it. And it's going to be quantity. And we're going to add a color, like green. And we're going to add a filter. So we're going to see things that our operation is at. So just to show you guys what I mean here. So I'm going to save this. So we have a chart. And you can see that today we did like 5 of something here. Like you can see here, it's 5 of jacket, right? So let's add a second
This is
series
number of
here.
transactions, or this is
This is the sum.
the
So
the sum of items.
yeah, the
Okay.
quantities, the sum of quantities.
Okay.
So we're going to add a new series, and this is going to make this more apparent. It's also going to get things from the inventory log. We're going to see things by date as well. The y-axis is also going to be quantity. So it's basically the same thing, right? But what we're going to do here, oh, so subtract, is the filter is going to be different, right? So the filter here is instead of operation equals to add is going to be operation is subtract. There you go. Yeah, you go. I think there's only 2 here, so I think I messed something up. That y-axis. It's not picking this. I can figure this later. So just I think I've messed something up here. Let's just show you guys how this is going. So this is the app, right? So we have this. We have. I just have to refresh this. There you go. So we have the inventory management part as well. We have like these tabs here, so we can cycle between them. We have the filters here, and now we have the report as well. So we could keep building things, adding indicators, adding other charts here. But one thing that I want to do before we leave, because we're already almost an hour into this live stream, is adding the agent, like Manak said. So I'm going to create an agent, a chatbot that is going to give me information about the inventory. Um, so, do you think it's better to have information about the inventory or the inventory log in this case?
Mm, we could do just one of them, but both could be interesting. Like
Yeah, let's get by the
the
inventory log.
inventory. Yeah. Okay.
The inventory, yeah, no problem. So let's get
Because
inventory.
then you can ask like regarding a specific product instead of
Yeah, sure. We can do a background color. So this is going to be white because our app is white. We could have a logo and a chatbot image. So we're going to leave the standard ones. So inventory info, and we're going to do ask me anything about your inventory, and we're going to call this inventory man, bot. So basically I'm going to do a prompt of provide information about the inventory, always be excited, and add emojis. We could do more useful stuff. Is just an example here, and we could add context links or context files for more information. So if I had like a PDF file for the inventory, like policies and so on, we could do that as well. So I'm going to create this chatbot. There you go. And this is what the chatbot looks like on its own, right? So we could use the chatbot right here, but I want to add it to the, I think the reports page. So for example, I'm going to pull the charts here, and we're going to use this component chatbot. I'm not in the plan. I can update this real quickly. It was just to show you guys, show it working before I change my plan here. So for example, give me a list of items in the inventory and their current quantity. So basically, we're creating a chatbot that can fetch information from the inventory and give me this information. So you can see here's a list of items. It gave me the most current information from the inventory, right? And it followed my instructions of adding emojis and being like more excited about stuff. Just wait a second, because I'm going to change my current plan here from
Yeah,
this test
and
account.
this agent basically, if you want, you could add also filters. Maybe you want the agent to only be able to talk about items that are low in stock, or that we don't that you don't have stock, or the opposite, only items that you have in stock, and so on. So you could just add more rules for your agent if you wish to. So And what we are going to do right now is to add this chat inside the app that we are building. So that's better, because if you are already maybe checking some data, adding new items and so on, you could also add the chat to make a question or ask for analysis, this kind of stuff. Um, and for your team, they don't need to have access to everything. You could give access, for example, only for the form to add in, remove quantities from or products from the inventory. So that's also something that you can do, and then only people that have the power to see all the transactions will see all the transactions. Another thing that we could do here as well is we could integrate a purchasing app. So, for example, if it's low on stock, we could have a button or a rule that when we click it, it will generate a purchasing order for a specific supplier that we have. And then you will have the cost and all the data that you may need for the operation.
Exactly. So I'm just updating the plan here. It should be working now. There you go.
Yeah, one thing that I would do is like I would add the column, the entire column of the right with the agent, not only the square on top, and make it like less wide and taller.
There you go. So kind of like this, right?
Yeah.
So there you go. So we have the chat bot here. We can go back to the app and see everything here. So we have the form, we have the inventory management, like dashboard. So we can see the tables with information, the filters here, and now reports also has the chatbot. So for example, tell me, oops, tell me, so give me a list of electronic items of electronics in my inventory. So there you go. So I'm going to ask it, and it's there you go. It fetched the information. So we have tablet, headphones, smartphone, laptop. So this is all the information that we had, right? So and we can do more stuff. So for example, um, I don't have too much information here. So let's figure something out here. Okay. So, for example, are there any items that are with quantity at 0? Yeah, so it's going to fetch the information. So the idea here is that if you had more information, if you had more fields of information, I think the chatbot would be nice as well with the history log, because I could ask, for example, what did Cruz do last month? What did Bonak do last month? So you could do more stuff. Give me a list of everything that I took out of the inventory in the past week, for example. So you could keep doing questions. You could keep asking things to the AI here, to the chatbot. But the idea is just to show you guys that you can have this kind of like conversation to get insights about your inventory as well. So we did a lot of cool stuff here, right? So we have the form. You select the category. This is going to fetch the products here. So you can see that when I change stuff, it's going to change the information here. So I'm going to subtract one office chair, and this is going to automatically remove one. You can see it was at 50 and it went to 49. So this is automatically updating stuff. We have these tables here that present the information in a good way, in a very insightful way. So you have conditional colors. So when something is yellow, they are below minimum. When something is red, they are zeroed. And I can pull the information to see the last times here that someone added or subtracted something here. And I have this reports part that we could do more stuff. We're kind of short on time. We did one chart. We could do more indicators. We have an inventory log here, and we have the chatbot where we can ask information about our inventory. So we did a lot here today, and you can see that it was quite easy, right? Um, we could have accomplished more by asking for the AI to build a better first version if I had provided more information. But I think part of the idea here is that we're going to show you guys how to do this manually, just so you can get some insights on how to build stuff in Jestor. But the AI could have done a much better job at first.
Yeah, and we are also going to make this available if you want to install and change it, continue building this kind of stuff. It's going to be there. Just with one click, you can install it and use it, change it. It's yours. So thank you guys, and see you next week.
Goodbye.